Okay, extreme close-up. All right, go for it.
Hi, my name is Dawn, and my 12-year-old son, he's now 12, Noah, started seeing Dr. Clark probably 5 years ago.
It's been that
I
long?
think it's been that long. He was in 2nd or 3rd grade, and he's just went into 7th grade.
Wow.
So he had been a kid who was just always felt like he was just too much of everything. It's kind of a good way to describe it. When he was 5 or so, he had a fit and actually broke an antique bed just by having a fit. And
wow.
And he was just, kind of hyper and just kind of a handful. And so we were always kind of looking for, what exactly was up. He went, did sensory integration therapy for 8 or 9 months, which did really well. He really did. That helped tremendously, and just kind of learned some ways to deal with that. And in doing that, they had suggested that perhaps he had some attention hyperactivity issues. So we were just kind of not exactly knowing what to do about that, because we didn't want to medicate him, and he was perfectly handleable, not on medication. You just had to know what, be careful and kind of know what to do. So then a teacher of his, when he was in, like I said, in 2nd grade or so, had seen Dr. Clark speak. And she just thought a lot of what he said kind of could relate to Noah, possibly. So then we started seeing Dr. Clark, and exactly what's wrong with Noah's brain I couldn't remember. But he explained with all these cool tests, exactly, and could see kind of immediately what was going on in the frontal right lobe, I believe.
Exactly.
And then we did some exercises at home, and we did the interactive metronome, and he just progressively got better. And I explained to him, I think one key thing about having a child with any kind of issue like this is kind of explaining what it is, just like you would if they had the flu or something. Because you don't want them thinking that something's wrong with them. It's just that their brain is a little bit different from other people's.
It can be helped.
It can be helped, yeah. So we did that, and he could probably tell you more about his brain than most kids could. So we've done that, it wasn't terribly long, but, we've kind of come back for tweaking every now and then. And what's interesting to me is people always say, it is amazing to me how different he is now than he was. And how did that happen? And I will always explain, we saw Dr. Clark, and they will always say, don't you think a lot of it was just maturity? And certainly I believe there's possibly an element to that you can control stuff as you get older, but my basic thought is that your brain is your brain, and I believe that a lot of the things we did here clearly changed his brain for the better. He also does rock climbing a lot, which I think is just a lifestyle thing that really helps with his core.
Works
strength.
really well for him.
Yeah. So we still just.
What about the tics he had? Tell me about
that.
Oh
yes, he had a lot of tics. When he was really small, he would lick things, which is somewhat age appropriate at some age, but it lasted longer with him. And then he twirled his hair, even and this is interesting, when he was an infant. When he nursed, he twirled my hair constantly. When he stopped nursing, he twirled his own hair, which was a tic that came back again and again and again, until in 4th or 5th grade, he was actually getting a bald spot. It was so bad.
Wow.
And he had this other tic where he did this, and
he
had a tic where he did this, and he just kind of went from one to the other. And again, we explained it to him, and he was able, which from what you've explained was pretty impressive, to always come to a new one. And
he substituted.
He would substitute. But then at some point, he just completely stopped, and he has
cool.
Nothing. Nothing right now. And we very much limit his time on any kind of screens. He's not that drawn to them, which I think is kind of rare for somebody who has issues with them. He's really not tremendously drawn to them. But
good thing you kept him away from him.
We keep him away, and we really monitor his sleep, which gets harder as he gets older. But that is another. If he's going to get a tic, it's going to be after an all-nighter or something with a friend. And so we still have to stay on top of it a bit more. But I would say he is just incredibly, incredibly improved from when we brought him first here. So thank you.
Cool. Thanks a lot.